She still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, welcome in everyone to a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 148. And Joe, I love pay-per-view weekends. How the hell you doing? How's the weather down there in Myrtle Beach?
Hey, man, it's been warm. I was expecting the cold to just come in, but man, it's going to be feeling great to wake up, if there even is a little chill in the air, to wake up to UFC 308 right early in the morning, man. I can't wait. And to make things better, you know what tomorrow's going to be.
I mean, I was going to ask. I didn't want to bury the lead, but I think someone told me it's someone's birthday tomorrow. The big what? Is it? I don't want to out you real quick, but
yeah, dog. I hate that shit. Yeah, 30, bro. 3-0.
Oh, the
bro.
big 3-0. But,
3-0.
I mean, more blessings, kid. I mean, what a perfect day. 3:08. Wake up. You'll be drunk by noon.
Yeah, I'll be drunk by noon. A bit of insight to tomorrow, because, I will be given a play at the end of the show today for BKFC 67, Denver. But tomorrow, as you were saying, they host a prospect series here in my own backyard of Myrtle Beach. I just want to shout out the local competitors. The opening card, opening the entirety of the event, is the Next Element Academy's teammate Jackson Whitley. Coach Jay-Z, Jeremiah the Prophet Scott is in the co-main event. And the main event is everybody's favorite local Brandon Bouchard. So shout out to all the competitors competing tomorrow. So yeah, locked and loaded Saturday entirety day from morning till
it even starts tonight. I mean, we'll talk about it a little later, but BKFC over in Denver, Colorado, that gets off tonight. So we'll have plays there a little later on the show. We'll recap UFC Vegas 99. Shout out Anthony fucking Hernandez. What a performance. Francis gets the big win. I mean, what a performance that was. UFC 308 picks and preview of all of that as well. We got some news towards the end of the show as well. But, Joe, I do want to start last week. Like I said, performance of the night goes to Anthony fucking Hernandez. He gets the KO in round 5. A little late in the round, but yeah, awesome performance. And I hand up, I was wrong. I took Michel Pereira. I thought he would do enough, but this kid, man, Anthony Hernandez, he will not be denied.
No, man, he has a vision. You can't deny the guys that have a vision for their future. And he has this eye set on gold. He really does. It doesn't even seem like there was a storm to be weathered in that fight. It seems that he was the storm the entirety of the fight. We both took Michel Pereira just based off the explosiveness, seeing him get some highlight reel KOs in the past. And we thought that, Fluffy would be a victim of that. But, man, another victim for Anthony fucking Hernandez, bro. I mean, he just keeps tallying them up. And this middleweight division, bro, has gone from, at one point when Izzy had it on lock, it was kind of dull. I hate to say that. He's always been a fan of the middleweight division going back to Anderson Silva days and even a little before that. But now, look at all this fresh blood coming into division. Look what's happening at the top now. We got DDP there. I mean, we don't have a revolving door. It seems like we have a pretty decent champion there to maybe see who can match him and take the belt from him, because a lot of bloodthirsty guys coming up. And I mean, this weekend is going to be locked and loaded full of them.
Yeah, the middleweight division, there's a lot of parity now. I do think DDP will verse Sean Strickland and maybe Sydney early next season or next year, excuse me. But I think Anthony Hernandez, he did go up one ranking to number 12. You think he's ready for a top 10 fight in the middleweight division?
I think he should. I mean, yeah, I think he needs a top 10 fight, my man. I mean, it could be a plethora of guys, I mean, there's so many people that he could throw in there. I don't know about
Paulo
a significant
Costa
jump. I like that. I like that. That's good. It's not too big of a number. Only 2 spots away. But look, we got Chimaev taking on Bobby Knuckles this weekend. Imavov just came off that huge win. Kyle Barrios surging. I mean, and like you said, Sean Strickland being the top. I mean, there's a lot of matchmaking to be done there. And hey, Sean Shelby McNair, if you need somebody else, you know who to call.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I love it. A little step backwards for Michel Pereira. He does move down to 14th. So maybe a Chris Curtis fight. I still think he's a good fighter, but yeah, Anthony Hernandez, he will not be denied. Wants to go home. He has 4 kids, living on a farm with his wife. The kid is amazing. So
Pereira may need to defend his spot 14. He may need to fight someone coming up into the top 15.
New England Mafia, Rob Font. What a win. I mean,
What a
another
hit.
guy that just won't be denied. I thought Kyler Phillips won the first round, and then here comes Rob Font really testing him. 1 rounds 2 and 3, in my opinion. And I was like, damn. I thought very highly of Kyler Phillips,
Yeah.
but Rob Font still top 10 in that bantamweight division.
Yeah, man, can't be denied. Like you said, New England cartel, man. We said it. The advantages that Rob Font's going to present, and he did it well. He presented it well. Kyler Phillips, I still think he has a little ways to go to striking, but it's
Yeah,
now or
that's what
never.
it is.
I think in his career, he has great jiu-jitsu, really good wrestling to get it there, but it just seems like he's a step behind when it comes to the striking, and he doesn't have a plethora of options with that. So I do like Kyler Phillips as a fighter going forward. I do think there's a lot to be done with him as well, and you can mix and match with whatever you want as a matchmaker. But for Rob Font, man, you got to get through Rob Font if you want to make it to the who's who of the division. And for Kyler Phillips, that's on stall right now.
How much do I have to pay you to get a fucking tattoo of the damage across your chest? Darren fucking Elkins. I mean, this guy, what a win. Fight of the night. Unfortunately, Daniel Padilla did put the gloves down. He retired after the fight, but huge. I thought that was a banger of a
He
fight.
had a great career, man. Daniel Pineda, up and down, though. So I think it's a little bit of frustration on his part. After a loss like that, you're very emotional, and he gave it his all, but it's just that it always prevails with Darren Elkins, man. Every time you count him out is when you got to fear them the most because he has nothing to lose. And he goes out there on his shield every single time. I mean, he proves us wrong pretty much every single time that at his age, he's still got it, the damage.
Cameron Smotherman.
Yeah, Smotherman. Yeah, he got
What
that
a
upset.
win. Upset plus 380 cashes over Jake Hadley. That was
I had a
huge
feeling.
win.
I think Jake Hadley, I hate to say it, he's a little bit of a fraud, man. I do think he's
Wow.
talented, and I like he had the undefeated record coming into the UFC. But since then, we see some disappointments. And Cameron Smotherman, based off who he's lost, now getting this win, 2 different trajectories for the career. Did a lot for Cameron Smotherman. Jake Hadley, he needs to win his next fight, or he might be out of the UFC.
Charles Johnson, big win over Sumo Darji as well.
It was a tough fight.
Decision. Yeah, tough fight.
Yeah,
Outside
Sumo
of that,
Dajri is tough, man.
Brad Katona, tough loss, but we knew it. That was going to be a tough one. You talk
So
about fraud.
the finish came from Jocelyn Edwards.
Yeah,
pretty much at
literally.
the main event. Almost got, luckily, Fluffy Gate that finish. It would have been a full decision card. I don't think I remember a full decision card for like almost 2 years from now. Like
Yeah,
last
that would
2
have
years,
been
last time
terrible.
we had a full decision card, man.
You talk about fraud. Robert Despain is a fraud, in my opinion.
It's over, bro. The train is over. It was good rolling with it for the first fight, and then into the second. But like you said, was it fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. You ain't fooling me again.
Yeah, you're not fooling me anymore. But overall, 1 and 2 on the night. I get the main event wrong. Co-main prop fought made me eat my words, but Charles Johnson comes home for me as well. So 1 and 2, not the best night, but how'd you do in the UFC?
Yeah, I'm lucky I took Darren Elkins, and I'm lucky I took Rob Font. 2 dogs that were completely live. Probably should have went with Smotherman on the lean. You would have probably boasted my record if I made an official play for him, but though it was a little rather lackluster of an event, I went 5 and 3. So profitable.
Yeah. And then I think the story of the weekend goes to Francis Ngannou. Gets the big win over Renan Ferreira. Round 1, KO, TKO. When a guy like Francis Ngannou gets on top of you, kid,
those blows are lethal, bro.
I'll say this. Was it a late stoppage?
I think they gave him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. But like you said, I mean, 3 shots from Ngannou like that to the back of the head. Near the back of the head, it's over. Yeah, you don't need to take any more unnecessary shots, which he did. He took about 5 more after.
Yeah. I was gonna say he took like 3 to 4 extra.
And I'm like, he's out. He's out. It was kind of like me screaming, like, was it Bobby King got knocked by Jalen Turner?
Bobby King. Yeah, by Jalen Turner.
We were like, no, stop the fight.
Oh my god. And I think it was Jason Herzog? Was it Jason? No, it was
I don't recall. Probably Herb Dean.
Yeah, Herb Dean. But it was a good ref that I
was Herb Dean reffing this fight too. He was the main event.
He was all over the place. Yeah. He went to Saudi Arabia.
But Ngannou, man, a guy we should not have never doubted. I don't know what's next for him. Going from the boxing ring where I doubted him, and I don't think taking a shot from AJ like that really bodes well for the future of your career, especially at 35 years of age. But it was finally time for Ngannou to feel at home, that he can use all his options, all his weapons, and finally be in those 4-ounce gloves. I think made him feel a lot less awkward. I think he's more used to that, and he's probably more dangerous in the 4-ounce glove than he is in the boxing gloves. Feeling so awkward, being in a different rule set, and doing well there speaks volumes to who he is and his character. but finally felt at home and was able to unleash it on Renan Ferreira.
I would want him to stay in mixed martial arts and MMA, but
That's it. Yeah, no more.
I just don't know
venturing over.
I just don't know what's next. Like, who are you gonna match him up with? There's
If
not
Don
really
Davey gets his
any.
head out of his ass and maybe says, "Let's do it, Dana." I think he has something if he wants to ride Ngannou. I do think Ngannou can get any heavyweight to run for their money, bro, in MMA.
But I don't think he gets any of the big guys. Like even a Stipe, he's going to be
No.
done after next month. I think John's done, and I don't think
It's
he
also
gets the
probably
Tom
going to go
Aspinall
to the
either.
unwillingness of Dana. It's never going to happen. There's going to be no crossover promotion. But I guess it's a fear as if Ngannou does move on. Like, I don't know if that's how locked in he is. I know he's the chairman of PFL Africa, but I mean, the man, you're letting him go in box. I mean, if he's wanting to fight and we're not giving him any options too, you might have him do what's necessary. And it might be for the lack of the business aspect as we all focusing on.
What
for the PFL.
about if I throw out a name like Deontay Wilder, who's also flirted with coming over to MMA? I think I don't like it. I think I'd like it in boxing just because I think we wouldn't see a different result like we saw last week. He's gonna fuck up Deontay Wilder
in
MMA.
MMA? Yeah. There's not enough time for Deontay to catch up. And it would be that Francis Ngannou would have to kind of take it easy on it. And we don't want to see that. If Ngannou would want to win that fight, I think he would employ the same game plan. I think he'd take Deontay Wilder down and slam him on his head and throw those concussive blows right back to the shot, right to the head. So, yeah, I don't think it bodes well for any boxer crossing over to MMA, but I don't think it bodes well for Francis doing the same to boxing.
You saw the emotion out of him after the win. You're just so happy after,
How could we have doubted that, man?
I didn't.
I kicked myself for that, for doubting him, everything that he's fighting for, everything that he's done.
Yeah.
Should have never doubted Francis Ngannou. So shout out him because he deserves it.
Chris Cyborg, tough fight. Don't know why they gave it a split decision. I mean, I thought
I had unanimous.
Yeah, I had unanimous as well. She dealt.
I have
with
it on the
cut
official
early.
though. I have it on the official as unanimous.
Oh, unanimous. Okay. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? I thought it was Paul Hughes. I don't. That wasn't. I like it.
It was a little close. It was a little close. Definitely, he had a definite advantage in the striking. He definitely did.
AJ McKee, man, what could go to right to that fight? I mean,
yeah.
I like AJ McKee. I think he's a hell of a fighter, but big news, Paul Hughes, man, he's the real deal.
That was a massive win, bro. And he had to come over a lot in that fight. Like I said, especially in that third round, the fact that he made it out of there and got the decision victory. I was expecting to finish. I expected him to shock a lot of people, but I do think that we scare at Paul Hughes with another top echelon fighter. I think he'll surprise a lot of us. I do think that a finish is not too far in his future, man, to a very high, profile fighter.
Yeah, and I think with the same thing we're running with Francis Ngannou, we're running into Johnny Eblen as well in the middleweight division. Wow. It's boring, but who's he gonna fight at this point? It's lackluster. We're seeing just boring fights. He's dominant. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, this is where you open up a light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Limiting the divisions is actually limiting your product.
What's wrong with Don Davis? I see you on Twitter. I mean,
yeah, he got me. I just rolled out of bed and I just saw that and listening. Shout out Luke Thomas and at Morning Combat, and I was just listening to them, and man, it just hearing that interview and how he speaks about it. It's so like I don't know, like patronizing towards everyone else or all of us fight fans to hear this guy speak about fighting, and it seems like we all know more than him. It's just disappointing to see a product like this who could put a lot of food on people's tables may not have a chance if this goes bankrupt. I'm just worried about us having another promotion go under. It
feels like when he talks, I don't listen to Don Davis much, but when I do listen to him, he talks like we're below him. Like we don't know what we're watching. And I don't like that, if I'm being honest. So
it makes me not want to watch the product, and not having opponents for our high profile fighters makes you look bad. So what's the argument here? You really don't have one.
Yeah, no, you don't at all. So overall, though, great night of the PFL as well.
It was a little more. I know there's a bunch of decisions, but a couple more finishes. I think it was a little more entertaining than its counterpart, I think. So, you can go off that. Get more entertaining fights going. And you can actually put on a better product some nights than the UFC.
And I also like they were kind of moving along kind of quick.
Yes. So keep that pacing going.
Yeah, 100%. So love that as well. Overall, how did you do PFL?
I wasn't as profitable, but 3-4 isn't too bad. I just, saw it the other way. I saw it opposite of what you did. I think you did a little bit better taking the co and main event the way you did. You can hear me, my man? What did your record come out to?
Yeah, I went 2-1, broke even for PFL. So overall 3-3 on the weekend. So I just break even. So not the worst.
Hey,
not
we're
the best.
afloat. We're breathing.
Yeah.
We're going into UFC 308 alive.
But before we do get to our picks, UFC 308, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It is no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We favor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or an elderberry watching UFC 308, it doesn't matter. Our favors pair perfectly with our Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, early start time on your birthday. Prelims start at 10 a.m. Main card starts at 2 p.m. on pay-per-view. I will let you lead it off, kid. What do you got?
Yeah, we're locked and loaded in the first fight. Weight division. No official play for me here. Henat Fakhretdinov, he's -200, taking on a last-minute replacement. Carlos Leal, +200. He's competed in LFA. He's competed in the PFL. He took place in a tournament. I mean, he's done a lot for a lot of fight promotions. But, I mean, Henat, he could be arguably, like, undefeated coming into this fight. I do think that if I were to like lean aside, I'd probably go Henat in there, but it's just not playable. I don't know which way he can win. And I do think for some reason the level of competition Carlos Leal has fought, he's live in a way. So no official play to open up the card and gives us a little breathing room. I don't want to go out 10 a.m. with a loss to start my day. I mean, let's just kind of let it breathe for a little bit and let's get these fights rolling before we start making some picks. And the same can be said for the next fight, which will be in the middleweight division. Bruno Silva's +160 taking on Ishmael Nardiev, who's -165. For a favorite that I haven't seen too much of, I'm not confident in taking him. And Bruno Silva, the loss that he had against Chris Weidman, to lose like that just shows how poor a performance he had last time out. You maybe think that there's some value on him, but I just don't have an official play, man. I can't take a side because Nardiev loses to Vadim Kutsi, who we saw lose in the Dana White Contender Series. So that level of competition isn't that high. I don't know which way to go with there. I'm not confident either or. I'm staying out of it. Steering clear from the first two fights. If y'all want to lean, maybe take the plus money. I think maybe that would be a little more worth it. A little more Silva than you do Nardiev, but I'm staying away. So let's move to the next fight. And now I'm starting to get involved. Now you're starting to see Joey D, start to hit some picks. Here we go, right? 135-pound weight class, bantamweight division. Farid Basharat's -950. I've seen 1,000. And some odds against striker Victor Hugo at +600. I get it. Farid Basharat, undefeated guy, but he's to get technician on the ground. He does tend to get to decision more than I would like, but he has that one thing. He has that limit on the stand-up, on his striking. Only one KO TKO, and I'm pretty sure it came via ground and pound. So to me, looking on paper and seeing what he's done in the footage, not much of a stand-up game. And with Victor Hugo, I mean, his nickname is Striker, and the dude has a lot. He's gone the distance, but he has a lot of submission victories in his repertoire. He has majority of his victories come with KO TKO. I don't see why this man should be +600. I'm going to take the value pick of the dog. I like them barking early, and we tend to see with these massive favorites, it goes the other way. So I'm fading the public. I'm fading every professional that says that Farid Basharat's the real deal, and I'm going to take a chance on Victor Hugo at +600. Though I may be, eating my words later, I just don't think the disparity is there. I really think this should be closer. As in swell that it is right now, inflamed that it is, I want to go and get the +600 from Victor Hugo. So let's go to a surprising matchup in the next fight, man. At the heavyweight division, Kennedy Nzechukwu is stepping here short notice to take on Chris Barnett, man. Everyone loves him, man. Beast Boy is such a fan favorite, but he's a dog. At his own weight class of +550, man, I don't know how much I can trust Kennedy Nzechukwu. He bullies smaller guys in light heavyweight division. And granted, he'll be taller than Chris Barnett, but for being a 5'10", almost 300-pound guy, and he was 400 pounds at one point. Chris Barnett is one of the most athletic specimens. I mean, this is peak male physique, right? This is the ultimate body. This is what, the peak male body should look like, right? Chris Barnett, right? So, I mean, the dude is an athlete, bro. Don't let looks fool you, bro. We doubted guys with big bellies in the past before, and what did they do? Big Country Roy Nelson icing all your favorite fighters. So Chris Barnett could throw a wheel kick and catch Eddie Nzechukwu with his awkward, very tall stance and maybe surprise a lot of us. I'm going with, again, another dog, man. He's in his own weight class. People are doubting him. Smaller guy can get inside a longer opponent. I like Chris Barnett at plus 550. I got 2 dogs barking in both of my picks to start us up.
I love it.
And now let's go to the next fight, the middleweight division. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. We're here yet again. Abus Magomedov is minus 145, taking on the Hulk Bruno Ferreira at plus 140. Look, I mean, both guys are going to probably come in there swinging. I think guns ablaze, and I think they're going to try to take each other out. Abus really only has like a round of cardio. Bruno Ferreira has the power to get you out of there in the first round. I think their best chance to win for both fighters is to get that finish in that first round. If it goes past that first round, I mean, it's anybody's ball game. So for me, since I couldn't really pick a side, since both of them do have that, fast first round start, I'm going to go with the fight to end in the first round. It's at plus 130. I think it's a safe bet. Not asking too much from the guys. You're not picking a side either, so either one could win as long as they get it done in the first round. It's a safe, profitable bet. So give me the fight to end in round 1 at plus 130. We're on our way, man. A lot of fights, man. I enjoy this UFC 308, man. I was trying to get tickets from Dana, man. I would have loved to go into Abu Dhabi, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
The lightweight divisions here, man. Mike Tibek, Orolblai. This guy is speaking highly about by everybody. They love this dude. He's minus 345 on the books against Mateusz Rebecki at plus 275. And Rebecki, before the loss to Carlos Diego Ferreira, he was looking really good, man. And I know maybe he hasn't fought the best level of competition, but it's just been Ferreira's been around the block, dude. We doubt the dude time and time again. What does he do? He comes out, he starches Michael Johnson. What does he do? He comes out, he makes Rebasti look like, like a bloody mess. So I think it was more of doubting Ferreira and his capability. I do think we're a little high on the hype of Orolblai. And I may be crazy because the Mongolian seems to have a perfectly well-rounded game, but I just haven't seen enough of it. And I know I've looked back and he has looked impressive, and Rebecki the same. I mean, it's too close to comfort for me. And I'm going to fade the public again, man. I'm dog hunting this card, bro. And I'm betting with my heart a lot, as in this whole year, very profitable 2024 for your boy, betting a lot of smart bets, very much so with my head. For my birthday, I got to bet with my heart. So the majority of these picks I'm making are heart-based. I'm going with Rebasti here. I'm taking Polish Power to upset the lot of us. And I think that he'll put on a good performance against Orolblai here. I really do. I'm thinking Rebasti can show up at least. So worth a pick at plus 275. And now we go on to the welterweight division. Low-key sleeper fight here. I really think like 2 OGs right now, and it's just going to be a magical fight for me. I really would like to see how this goes because Jeff Neal needs a win. He's minus 280 on the books here, but RDA is just one of the hardest guys to put away, just one of the hardest guys to figure out and compete with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you hear about the stories in the gym. You hear about him when he goes out there, former champion. I mean, he is a professional, and he has the all-time cage time, all-time octagon time. I think he adds to it here. I'm going to take the dog again. I'm going to go RDA, plus 260. I think the wrestling, if he really starts dogging and hunting for that takedown, I think he can get it against Jeff Neal, especially with Jeff Neal's power. He does live up to hands of steel. He can put together some nasty boxing combination and catch you on the feet. So I think RDA's path to victory is wrestle him. Wrestle him. Let's get RDA's octagon time to an unobtainable point. RDA by decision, but I'll take him straight up at plus 260 because maybe a submission could be in there. Maybe swell it down to, double chance, or not at all. You can just take him straight up. But I do see him adding another 15 minutes to his fight time and winning via decision against Jeff Neal here. So let's keep the legend going.
Yeah, RDA. He'll be 40 years old on Saturday. You guys share a birthday. He's going to make his 36th walk in the octagon. Future Hall of Famer, no doubt. Interesting fight. I don't necessarily like RDA at 170, though. I think he's a little undersized. But on the other side, Jeff Neal with a G, not a J. Yeah. Jeff Neal, he's a good fighter. He's also been kind of up and down, too, in my opinion. I think Jeff Neal, he has good takedown defense. And if he could stuff those takedowns like you're alluding to, I think he's the cleaner striker. I think he has the more power on the feet as well. I think the fight stays on his feet. Pretty straightforward for me. I think this is a solid victory for Jeff Neal. RDA is a legend, but Joe, like you know, Father Time is undefeated. So give me Jeff Neal plus 125 via decision.
May the best man win. I did not know that. Thank you for that bit of caveat. So I will be rooting even harder for RDA, being that we share a birthday and the fact he's fighting on his birthday. So it'll make it that much sweeter to get a victory. But hey, shout out you, because I do think Jeff Neal is a guy. You know what I mean? He's a guy who, if he gets a win on RDA here, he's back on track. So, I mean, this fight means a lot for both guys, because RDA just keeps that, like I said, that legend going if he gets another win. So now that wasn't even the main event of the prelims, which shocked me, and I surprised you. But the main event of the prelims I'm seeing here is in the light heavyweight division, and it's Turkey's own Ibo Aslan. He's back, man, at plus 110, taking on Rafael Seguero at minus 110. You don't have a play on this. I don't really have a play on this either. You know, it seems like Aslan is going to be, you know, like a Ion Kutalaba kind of guy, like hunting the knockout. I haven't seen his chin get checked, but he has got submitted in the past. And Rafael Seguero, he does like standing and banging, but he has some submission options. And that seems like his path to victory. If he really wants to play this smart and just stay away from Ibo's power, is to take him down and try to submit him. I feel like he could probably get that done. But, you know, fight IQ is one thing, and Ibo Aslan could drag him into a brawl. And I do think Aslan would probably be have a little advantage if it does wind up to be, you know, a swing off. So, man, I probably going to have to lean in this. I think I'll lean again with the dog since I have a trend today. Got to take Ibo Aslan at the plus money just because he's the A side. He's on the red corner. I mean, he's gotten a knockout. He does great post-fight comment. I want to see the post-fight, you know, what he's got to say in the octagon, especially they put him as the main event of the prelims. They must be speaking highly of this guy if they're putting him there, right? And expecting him to get a knockout to start the show of the main card. So I guess I got to lean Ibo Aslan. If you want to get even better odds for a guy who's already a dog, take him with the KO TKO. I think you take Ibo Aslan via KO TKO. Do you see odds on Ibo Aslan via KO TKO? If I remember correctly, it was only like plus 20 more odds. I think it was only like plus 130 last I saw.
Let me see. By KO TKO, plus 165. I see best.
Yeah, I mean 110's fine, but yeah, if you want to,
I see plus 130, plus 135. Shop around.
Yeah, shop around, and I'm sure you get a little more juice worth the squeeze in that. So we've made it to the UFC 308 main event in Abu Dhabi, man. Oh, I think it's going to be a rowdy crowd. You saw Jon Anik, too, crushing a beer, sculling a whole beer in front of the Muslim-heavy crowd. I mean,
love it.
All respect, but he's a legend, man. He's out there just
little slow for Jon Anik, though. The chug wasn't fast.
It was a bottle. It wasn't an open, you know what I mean? If it was an open cup, you know what I mean? That's easier. The bottle, it's in a little vacuum. You ever near Beer Fest, Das Boot? The little air bubble.
Yeah.
So, but shout out Jon Anik, an absolute legend in these parts, man. Let's start the main card here. In the middleweight division, I'm seeing Sharabulit, Magomedov. And what a character. Just super talented dude. Minus 150. This is a fight for him to display and showcase his skills. Armin Petrosyan is going to stand up with him. He's plus 145 here, and I do think he's a dog in this because it's a lot to overcome. I do think, though, minus the eye, Sharabulit is better in every way on the feet. And Armin Petrosyan, I have seen him kind of initiate some takedowns when he's felt that he's in danger. So one thing I fear with Sharabulit, that maybe his takedown offense isn't up to par, but Armin Petrosyan is not a wrestler first. He's a striker first. And like I said, he can wind up wanting to stand up and prove he's a better striker than Sharabulit. I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think Sharabulit has better kicks. I think he's better at range, and I think he'll be better in exchanges. So got to take the bullet here. Man, in his own backyard pretty much, minus 150, super playable. I think if he finishes Armin Petrosyan how I expect him to, I don't think we'll see Sharabulit this low of a price again for a while.
Yeah, good test for Sharabulit. You know, the only thing keeping me from unloading and making him my lock of the weekend is his takedown defense isn't the best. You know, we saw in his last fight, he got taken down 3 times by a striker. But I do think he is the better boxer. I think his cardio seems to be getting better as well. Should be a striking match. I don't think anyone's going to be trying to take anyone down. I just think Sharabulit has more tools, has more ways to win. In home in Abu Dhabi, I think he's going to have the crowd behind him. I think this is a really good spot for him. So, yeah, give me Sharabulit straight up here as well.
All right, we're on the same side there, and it'll take us right to the next fight in the featherweight division. The Ron Murphy. You saw him; he wanted to change his nickname. I just think the Miracle fits so well. I understand why he said that. He said the Miracle. It's not a miracle that I'm here. I'm supposed to be here. I'm going to change my nickname to the Iceman, and I think it kind of fits him, you know, in a way. But I mean, it's hard to take that from Chuck Liddell. So I think you got to respect the legend and let him have it. You know,
Yeah.
Ron Murphy, you're the Miracle, my man. Minus 250 for a reason. I think his resume speaks for itself. Kind of undefeated guy. You know, his UFC debut, he had that draw, which can arguably be not a draw. So Dan Ige, though, 50K, stepping on a late minute. Man, literally last minute. Like literally a minute before, he was like, yeah, I'm in the arena already. I'll be right there and I'll fight him. I'll step. Dan Ige, 50K, man, he lives up to his nickname every single time. But he's plus 240 in the spot. So D-Rock, I'll hand it off to you. I need to hear your opinion on this. What do you got?
Yeah, you know, I love this fight between Dan Ige and Lerone Murphy. Murphy, I think he shined in his main debut against the legend Edson Barbosa. He's undefeated in the UFC. Now he gets a real test in Dan Ige, who's just a fucking gangster. You know, I think technically Lerone Murphy is the more cleaner and better striker, but I think that power obviously belongs to Dan Ige. I think Dan,
Yeah,
he has to make this fight ugly in the clinch, kind of beat him up. You know, the way, don't let Lerone Murphy keep distance at his pace, because if that is the case, Murphy's just going to pick him apart for 3 rounds. Should be a good scrap. I like the over 2.5. I like the fight to go the distance. I don't think Lerone Murphy can put away Dan Ige, but ultimately I'm going to side with Lerone Murphy here. I think he is the better fighter, but Dan Ige is a gangster in my opinion. So yeah, give me Lerone Murphy via decision.
Yeah, I hate to say that because I hate fading Dan, man. I really do. I think he's an awesome fighter. I think he's a fan favorite fighter. And watching the Embeddeds just made me like fall in love with him even more. Named his son Bam. What a badass that kid is. You know, he's going to grow up to be a freaking rally car driver or a stunt devil or something like that. But that's how you're supposed to raise boys. So, you know, shout out Dan Ige as being just a man's man. I remember when he got that KO Andre Fili back like a little bit ago, man, that was just so impressive what he's been doing throughout his career. But we can't forget about Lerone Murphy. I just think the dude is super talented. I've seen this dude for years now, and I said, watch out, man. You know, back in like 2017, 2018, I was like, this dude's a dark horse. Just the way that he was so proficient then to where he's evolved now, almost a decade later, he's still in it. And 33 years of age doesn't seem to be old for anyone nowadays. It seems that you're still in it. You got at least 2 more before, like you said, Father Time kicks in at 35 is kind of the point where we start seeing some diminishing. But Lerone Murphy, both 33 against Dan Ige, so there's no age discrepancy. I do think he'll have a little more volume. He just needs to stay away from Dan Ige's power, as you said. Got to go with Lerone Murphy here. Minus 250. I hate to say it. I don't think he's getting Dan Ige out of there. I got to go exactly in line with you. I think it's Lerone Murphy via decision in this one, but a good showcase of skills for both fighters. I like this one. Let's move to the featured bout of the evening in the light heavyweight division. Magomed Ankalaev, cooked, absolutely cooked. Have a ticket for him. Doesn't even have a title shot this year. Minus 350? Minus 350? I don't know if he should be. I mean, poor IQ decision making. Look at the fights with Ion Kudalaba. Look at the fights with Paul Craig. Look what he did with Jan Blachowicz. I mean, he like makes me feel bad. Like I don't know. I don't know why I'm taking him in this, but I am. I have to.
Wow.
Rocket could come out and just hit him with a rocket, you know, so he could
no
be
pun intended.
310. No pun intended, but like if he makes a foolish decision here, Ankalaev could get slept. I really do see that, but it is Ankalaev's fight to lose. All the cards are on his table. It's all for him to get that title shot against Alex Pereira, the light heavyweight division. We should have seen it already, but he hasn't been doing the right decisions during the fights, and it seems like he's not doing the right behind the scenes either. So the pressure's on him here, and he could fold under pressure. Let's see. I'm going to take him. Probably a decision to get the odds squeezed down, but I did just take it straight up.
Title eliminator. Yeah, our ticket's fucked, unfortunately. But yeah, title eliminator at light heavyweight. It's crazy to think, Joe, but Alexander Rakic hasn't won a fight since 2021. Injuries have been a big part of that, but I agree. I think Alexander Rakic is a very dangerous fighter, especially early on. He carries a lot of power, but I don't think he's very versatile enough to take on and beat a guy like Magomed Ankalaev. Maybe I'm on the hype train. I think a little more highly of Magomed Ankalaev than a lot of people, but I just think Magomed Ankalaev can strike with Alexander, and ultimately he's going to get this fight to the ground. And when he does, I think the game's over after that. Alexander at times could be, he does get good at getting up to his feet, but I think as the fight goes on, the more wear and tear and grind out of a victory Magomed's going to do. So Magomed's going to get next for Poatan. Give me Alexander. Give me Magomed Ankalaev.
Hey, now it's more likely. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like your analysis, but I do think the opposite. I don't think that's why I was like complaining about his fight IQ, because I don't think he utilizes the wrestling as much as he should. I do think he falls in love with his stand-up and his kicks. As a Dagestanian wrestler in his background, yeah, he goes against it a lot. And Rakic, I think it's his kicks that are like his bread and butter. I think that's where he can compete with Ankalaev. If they decide to kick off, Rakic actually may come out on top with that. And I do think Rakic doesn't have as much power, maybe a little more in the first round, but I do think he gets a little pillow-fisted as the fight goes on. But the same can be said for Ankalaev. So it's going to come down to a kicking battle, and if, like you said, they want to wrestle. I don't know who's going to be the initiator of that, but whoever decides to in this fight, I do think we'll have the advantage. So
real quick, Joe, before we get to the co-main event, I think this might be a good hedging because, like I said, Alexander Rakic, if you like him like Joe, take him. And then after round one, I think there's a good opportunity to bet on Magomed Ankalaev because as the fight goes on,
odds.
Yes, so just wanted to throw that out there. This might be a good hedging situation.
Yeah, I mean, that we could also start doing that as we go along. I feel like there's some money to be made, like you said, during the fights as a lot live
100%.
odds get shifted. Man, if we're posted up on that, we could definitely make you guys some money live.
Sometimes I try to be too cute. Like last time I hedged we were talking about him next in the co-main event. Was with Chimaev and Usman. I bet Chimaev early on, and then I was like, I could see Kamaru Usman coming along here.
That's right.
You know, he just ran out of time, but I think there are good opportunities.
Yeah, and exactly that. Speaking of Khamzat Chimaev, he's at the co-main event, the middleweight division here. Once a guy who easily made 170 is now struggling to make 185, and he came in at 186, was the last person to weigh in as well. But he's a favorite. He's minus 250 on the books. And if you're going to give me Bobby Knuckles with plus money, told you there was a trend. Got to take it, man. Ain't no way I'm fading Robert Whittaker here. I'm hoping for the OGs to reign victorious throughout this weekend. Betting with my heart a lot here. So, of course, if Bobby Knuckles loses, my heart will break in the co-main event, and then we'd have one more fight after that. So I would have to bear through all of it. But, hey, always rode Chimaev in most of his fights, and I do think that it's going to be a sprint out of the gate for him. I do think he's been very reserved, being now a father and not wasting all the energy as he's done in prior, pre-fight conferences. Press conferences, he's more reserved, and you're right. I think it was the right way to approach it because there's none of those antics are going to work with the guy who's a professional like Robert Whittaker. It's just not. So Khamzat's being very smart here and not really showing his hand, and I do think he has some confidence. Both fighters look good here, but I just got to take the plus money. I got to take the guy who has the striking advantage. Let's be real. Robert Whittaker is night and day when it comes to the striking compared to Khamzat Chimaev. But it could be the opposite when it comes to the wrestling. Chimaev may have just a way better degree of wrestling when it comes to Whittaker. We saw him struggle with who's an awkward grappler, DDP. But the thing about DDP is he's so big and so strong that I think the grappling weighs heavier on most opponents than it would with the guy who's smaller. Chimaev is smaller. He was a guy who we thought would make home at 170, but here he is trying to make it to the championship of 185. And does a win here get him that? Does it do the same for Robert Whittaker? I mean, Dylan, you answer these questions.
I was gonna say, I think a winner of this fight does get a title next shot. Whether it's DDP, whether it's Sean Strickland, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think winner gets a fight, especially if it is Chimaev. They want to boost him up. I'm not gonna lie, Joe. I've been dying for this fight ever since it got canceled a few months back. The betting line has kind of been all over the place. Chimaev made weight this morning. Last one with like 15 minutes to spare, which is a good thing. I'll say it didn't look the best, but he got there. I just don't know which Chimaev is going to show up. Yeah. You know, he's a great first-round fighter, but as the fight goes on, like we saw it, Kamaru Usman, we saw it with Gilbert Burns as well, he starts to become human. He starts to wear down a little bit, and I wonder if the weight cut was an issue on his body, and we know how well Bobby Knuckles, he has cardio for days. He gets better as the fight goes on. Robert Whittaker just doesn't give up many takedowns either. I love his aggression, attitude all week from Bobby Knuckles.
Bobby Knuckles.
Yeah, I love it. I'm not going to say it. And Good
Did
stuff.
you hear
I'm
the
Yeah.
interview with Brett Okamoto?
No, what?
Bro, it gave me chills. What the Reaper said, he was like, I'm coming out here to kill, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm gonna come out to kill him. I'm gonna knock him out. He said I'm gonna stuff his takedowns, and I believe him, Joe. And then when it comes down to experience, who's fought the who's who? Robert Whitaker's been there with everyone, killers in there. So
yeah.
I think 5 rounds really benefits Robert Whitaker as well. But what worries me, Joe, is I think backing Robert Whitaker is if you go back to that DDP fight, he wasn't good off of his back. And if you look towards the Usman fight with Chimaev in that 3rd round, I went back and watched. He did what he needed to do. He started to go out there and wrestle and get that leg takedown. And I think isolating himself in the mountains of Russia, taking this camp really seriously, I think this is his toughest test to date. I think Chimaev's grappling is just going to be a little too much. I'm going to set back Chimaev here. And as the fight continues, like I said, there might be a good opportunity to live bet Robert Whitaker, but I'm going to take Chimaev here, and I think he gets the next title shot.
So Chimaev, you're laying the 250
It's going to be in a parlay, but I would take via decision.
via decision. Wow. Hey, man, I appreciate you doing that. I really do, man. Seeing at the opposite side, all the positive things you've said about Robert Whitaker, man, former champ. If
I hit you with that 12-6. I said all these positives. Then I hit you with the 12-6.
If Chimaev beats Robert Whitaker, I don't think there's any denying him. I think you give him the title shot, who wins, like you said, from DDP and Sean Strickland. So
I don't care what numbers you are, because we've seen that numbers really don't matter.
Don't matter. Look what's happening
if
with
you
the
beat Robert
flyweight
Whitaker, a future Hall of Famer, you're getting a title shot. That's it.
That's it.
I don't care who you are. It could be
It's
Chimaev,
set
it
up
could be
nicely
anybody
for
else.
either guy because these names are way bigger than Imavov, who arguably, based on paper, deserves it, who he's fought
Yeah.
where he's surging, but just doesn't have the fanship following or the name to back him. You get Robert Whitaker back in that title picture, or Khamzat Chimaev, you're going to have 1 million+ fans watching that fight.
I'll say this though, I won't be mad if Robert Whitaker wins at all.
No, I think he's reached a new gear. I feel like he's remotivated. And he said he doesn't need motivation to beat him here. That's scary. A dude that doesn't need motivation, he has nothing to lose. So another dude that is just very scary right now. So we've made it to the main event of UFC 308, and of course we're for the undisputed featherweight championship of the world. Current champion Ilia Topuria is El Matador, and he's minus 230. And the Blessed Express, baby, Max Holloway is plus 230 here. D-Rock, I'll let you take it away for the main event. Who are you going with?
Max Holloway, after his amazing knockout of Justin Gaethje, had to enshrine him behind me. But, Max Holloway, last time he was champion, 2019. Last time he fought for this belt, 2022. Since then, rattled off 3 wins in a row, 2 of them by knockout. Very, very high-level mixed martial arts here. Probably one of the best matchups we could see in the UFC.
All year.
Cannot wait for it. Yeah, all year.
Maybe all time.
We'll see. I think of this year, definitely. But, Ilia Topuria is a beast. Do not be fooled with the way he lures you in like a fucking snake. And then that quick power just unloads you. He's a superstar. I mean, man dime. He knows how to dress. I think the guy
he
is
did
a real
aura. The way he's been walking around the embeddeds and stuff, it's pretty crazy.
It's like what the young kids say. He has the aura, like you said. So he backs up everything. He talks a big game. He backs it up. I love everything about this guy. I think the weight cut for Max Holloway could be a problem. I liked him better at 155. I don't know if the power is going to translate back down to 145. And everyone talks about Max Holloway and his footwork and that, but let's not forget, Alexander Volkanovski is a guy that beat him 3 times and cut off his footwork and made it look easy. So, and Ilia Topuria is, his first time made it look easy. And Joe, what worries me is that all the smart people and everyone, all the experts, they love Max Holloway, and rightfully so. He's one of the most beloved fighters in the company. He's a future Hall of Famer, and for obvious reasons. But when one person or multiple people are going one way, you know what I like to do? I like to go the other way. I think this guy is going to be a champion for a very, very long time. I think he's a future Hall of Famer waiting in the thing. Give me El Matador. I'm going to take Ilia Topuria here. I don't know one person on him besides me. I think he knocks out Max Holloway, unfortunately. But yeah, give me El Matador. Give me Ilia Topuria.
I like your stance here. Beautiful breakdown. I mean, he has it. He does. You know, he has the power, and a lot of people are sleeping on his grappling too. Like Ilya
Oh my
Topuria
God, yeah.
is a grade A grappler, bro. I mean, look at earlier.
Look what he did to Bryce Mitchell.
Look what he did to Bryce Mitchell, and look at earlier in his career when he first started out. I'm pretty sure he had like 6 or 7 consecutive submission victories. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he is wicked when it comes to every aspect of the game. I do think he has got great cardio, and then the power is X factor. As compared to Max Holloway, where I don't think he does have all that much power. I think he also did a good job of luring Justin in with the 10 seconds left, no pun intended, into that, and then, you know, got him out of there, gutted him, took the wind out of him, and then chin checked him. And that was just a perfect display for UFC 100 and a perfect end to that main event. And I saw a lot of experts actually going with Ilya Topuria. So maybe we're watching different ends and what other people are seeing, but I had the public going with Max Holloway, and I hate to be riding with the public, but I'm on opposite side. I will be taking Max Holloway, the Blessed Express, man. He epitomizes what I stand for. The most important aspect of a round is the last 10 seconds. And what does he do? He points to the ground. So, you know, I did fade him in 300. I took Justin Gaethje because I thought the leg kicks would become more of a factor, but he does have that spinning check kick that Max Holloway's been using. I don't know how much Topuria has been studying that, but I do think that he may be staying away from that. And, you know, that may come into play. I think Max Holloway, he's a little limited with his ways to win. Like I said, I don't really think the power is going to carry, especially down at 145. Though he's looked great, both have. I just don't think the knockouts is likely for him, and I don't think submission is a threat for Max Holloway. I don't. With the level of grappling that Topuria offers, I think it's the opposite. I think Topuria has a chance to maybe submit Max Holloway. Everyone's talking about him being the first to crack Max's chin. You said it best. It seems like Topuria is 2 steps ahead. He may be tricking everybody, especially Max, saying, first 10 seconds, we're going to stand in the ring and bang. Perfect for him to let down his defense guard and get taken right down. And here's Topuria climbing to the neck. You know, how good he can climb that tree and get to the neck. I mean, it's possible. So, I mean, I'll see the analysts in the breakdown I have to Topuria. We speak very highly of the man. I don't think he's a fraud in any way. And if you go on to beat Alex Volkanovski and then beat Max Holloway, I mean, the legend already is there for him, and he could just continue on his legacy as he goes on. So I could see why you took Topuria. But as a fan favorite, betting with my heart, taking the legends, the ex-champions, the guys who've been there, done that, I got to go with Max Holloway. I think it's better for the sport. I don't know why. I just think that it's just the timeline's got to be right. As Max said, like we got to get everything right. Robert Whittaker get another title shot. Max Holloway is a featherweight champ and a BMF champ, because the BMF is not on the line here. And Topuria has complained about that.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. It's not for it, but maybe it's in his mind a little bit. Maybe it's bothering. Maybe he's thinking more about, hey, why am I not getting a chance to win the
First
BMF
of all, I don't
belt
know how
than
Ilya
defend-
Topuria is that rich. He just became champion. He's flying PJs all over. He made his own BMF belt. This guy's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it may be some good investments or maybe some money taking,
money.
but also what you get with a lot of countries is when they have somebody, they ride him. Look at Japan and Shohei Ohtani. You know, look at some of the athletes around the world.
Look at Georgia and Merab Dvalishvili.
Exactly. And the same could be said for, I mean, you got 3 different countries kind of backing Topuria, so that could be the case. Germany, Spain, and Georgia, as you said. I mean, so these superstars that come from a country, they're going to have the whole country backing them and pushing them, so maybe that's what's coming into play. So, but it doesn't seem that he's fazed by the limelight, by all the cameras, the spotlight, everything being on him. It seems like he was really made for this, and he's another guy who's, just like Max, they're both kind of being great fathers too. They're bringing in the next generation with their own kids. You see how these guys, you know, act, and they're just consummate professionals. I think we're getting the highest level of mixed martial arts, and it couldn't be better for a finale of UFC 308 on my birthday. It's a beautiful birthday present.
Few questions off the back end. One, do you think it's a bit that Ilya Topuria is doing, or do you think he really is who he says he is?
No, I think he believes it. Yeah, I think he believes it. I think you have to believe it. You got to have that you know, that arrogance or maybe a little delusion and be a little crazy to be that. And you got to have the visualization. I mean, Conor talked about it, and it does manifest itself. So I feel like he's believing it and he's going to go in there. But even though he isn't as, like, he's a little more flamboyant or out there than Max has the same feeling. He's just more reserved about it. And I do think he's focused, bro. He is super concentrated on this. And I do think it's still, you know, it's like just poke it at Max. All this attention's on Ilya. Meanwhile, Max has been here and he wants it back, bro. And I do feel like at range, in the boxing range, I think he actually has a little bit of advantage. It's if it comes in close, is Ilya going to maybe grapple him and take him down, be successful at that, or hit him with the power? So I think it, like I said, I think it makes for a fantastic main event. And I do think that this is a type of fight that could go the distance. I know people are saying that Ilia Topuria could crack his chin. I'm not going to believe it. It hasn't been done before. Don't think it could maybe happen here. I got to see it to believe it, you know? So it's more likely that this fight goes over the rounds and goes to the judges than anything else. But will it be a controversial decision? I mean, we'll wait and see. Remember, we said a close fight doesn't mean it's controversial. So if Ilia wins 3 out of the 2 rounds, then rightfully so, he defended the belt. But the same could be said for Max. If he wins 3 of the 2 rounds, then he deserves and new.
And then last question, if Max does, you know, right the wrong and finally get the belt back, knocking off Ilia Topuria, do I have to take this down? Am I a fraud now? I have to betting against him after enshrining him in I have to take it down, right?
I think you have to send it to me. Yeah, I think that's what you have to do.
Oh man,
I think that's what deal we'll make over the air.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about that. I think I might take this down though for John Jones fight for 309 coming up in November. I got the John
Should be
Jones
a good one, man. It's gonna come quickly too.
Yeah,
and no breaks, no time off. UFC's going right after this to, you know, we got UFC Vegas 100 in the meantime.
Oh my god. Hey, don't tease me with a good time now. You know, you got 308 next this weekend. Next weekend we have UFC Canada or UFC Edmonton.
Yep.
We have Amir Albazi taking on Brandon Moreno. And then we're right back. UFC 300. We got to get a guest on. It's the biggest card of the year. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And then UFC 309. We are all gas, no fucking breaks. Then it's UFC China, November 23rd. And then UFC 310, Bilal Muhammad. Remember his name against Shafkat. So yeah, we're all gas, no breaks here in the UFC. Joe, good luck. Should be amazing. Card, like I said, early start time. Prelims start at 10 Eastern. Main card goes off on pay-per-view 2 p.m. Little news before we get out of here. Tatiana Suarez, I told you, is out against her fight, UFC 310, but it's not to do with an injury. It's a health issue as well. So she wanted to make sure that, you know, people know she's not injured again. It is a health issue. So does that make you feel a little better?
I mean, it maybe just going around. I've seen a lot of people get sick. I mean, even Deebo Samuel is battling pneumonia, I think, and he's trying to make it to Sunday. So, I mean, there's a lot of people, athletes included, that are just getting sick this time of the year. We know with her battles with cancer and everything, we hope it's not anything more severe. So just wish her the best speedy recovery because she's a threat, man. We want to see her fight. It's been a while since we last seen her.
Yeah. UFC Saudi Arabia, February 1st. Andre Muniz will take on Ikram Aliskerov. You like that fight for Muniz?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough fight for both guys. I do think that Muniz does like to stand, but Ikram's going to have an advantage there. And when it comes to grappling, Ikram probably going to have a little better wrestling, but Muniz obviously has almost second to none jiu-jitsu. So we'll see. I think it's a great fight, though, of both guys who need to get a win. So I'm pretty sure they'll come in highly motivated.
December 14th, UFC Tampa, Joel Alvarez taking on Drake Klose, right? Draco Klose?
Jakar Klose.
Yes, you like that?
Yeah, Jakar Klose, yeah. Yeah, dude, you know, stands and bangs. But Jakar Klose is taking on Joel. Man, that height discrepancy. That's what I was going to say. The height discrepancy that Joel Alvarez possesses and his ability to submit you, man.
The Spaniard.
Yeah, dude. I like Joel Alvarez in that. I hate to say.
Dana White, he had an interview with UFC TNT, said that he's been working on a new ranking system. He's came out, been critical about him last week. Yeah, and then he said he spoke to his boy, Mark Zuckerberg, about AI being used. You like this?
Yeah, I mean, might as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Even if AI does it. So we can just say, as a human, we can say, no, you know what? We're going to have the number 10 guy fight the champ.
Yeah, it does.
Like Chimaev could possibly do.
Bellator lightweight champion Usman Nurmagomedov, he tells Gorilla Energy that he's waiting for Islam Makhachev to retire before joining the UFC. Usman Nurmagomedov hopes to roughly be around the UFC in 2 years, he said, when he's 28. Then he'll resign UFC champion until he's 32. The guy has it all mapped out already.
Yeah, I mean, Habib and Abdul Manapovich, I mean, they had it planned out, I guess, to have Habib give it to Islam, like perfect timing, right? And Islam is, if he enters in 2 years from now, Islam may have defended his belt maybe 3 or 4 times. And if he does, of course, maybe double champ, we'll see. But then they'll both be there at a certain point, just like Habib and Islam was. But just as Usman's rising to that title picture, that's when Islam steps down. And so we just keep that lineage going, and we'll see how far they could keep this rolling. I mean, it's impressive. It'll be all time if they can keep it like within the family.
Yeah, you always got to keep it within the family. And then we're going to end it with your boy, chairman of the PFL, Don Davis. He's announced PFL World Champions event November 29th will not be a pay-per-view. No, I know you're critical of him, and rightfully so, but I think this is a good move. You can't make it a pay-per-view.
No, and I think going forward you can't. I don't think that they could have many pay-per-views. I think they're gonna have to figure out a way to monetize putting it up for free, whether ESPN or YouTube or whatever they need to do, just so they can monetize it as best they can without having the people pay for it. And that could be an advantage to watching our product as compared to having to pay over $1,000, $2,000 a year to be a UFC fan. So let's try to corner the market where the other opponents are not. Let's be smart about this, Don Davis. I mean, I'll support you, but I'll be critical of you as well. I think you need that. I think you don't need as many yes men in your corner. So let's get this going the right way.
I would have paid for last week, though. Last week was a really good card. It was kind of like a UFC card. I'll
yeah, but that can get them going for next year. Like
Yeah.
they do this for free, and then they keep cupping more events out, pumping them out. Then they can hit us with a massive event that we'll pay for, and I'm sure we will if we are impressed by the
In that same interview, he did say Jake Paul said he's looking to make his PFL and MMA debut summer of 2025.
He's got to worry about Mike Tyson before that. Have you seen
Wow.
fucking Mike Tyson as of late?
Iron.
Yo, he looks fucking ready, bro. I don't know. He's just something mentally ready about Mike Tyson that he's back, bro, and he's looking jacked. Like 50 years of what
You think
age?
he's
Nah.
taking this serious?
I think they ain't testing either. I think both of them
Wow.
is juicing.
No, Jake Paul looks kind of big too, though. if I'm
Yeah, I
not
think
gonna
both of them
lie.
are on the juice. I think
Yeah.
they're this is the Pride days. We're doing a smell test like Joe Rogan was. It's like you're good.
Yeah. I mean, look at and a lot of people are just openly coming out. Look at Cowboy Cerrone. I think that's a problem, though. Openly coming out. I didn't even plan on talking about Cowboy, but when you openly talk about it and then say, "Hey, I'm coming back," I think you're not gonna get a lot of people signing up because you don't know if you're still on it. Like I
True.
don't
mean,
I
you
don't
can
want
cycle it off too. That's the thing. You can hide it. There's plenty of ways to deceive
Yeah.
the testing, especially now. I don't know how certified Free Drug Sport International is compared to USADA.
Are you surprised? Dana White, Daniel Cormier. A lot of people are coming out with negative feedback about Donald Cerrone coming back. Are you because you weren't as critical? Are you
No.
surprised he's getting a lot of backlash for coming
No,
back?
I expected this. I expected it because it's just the public. And what do? You and I have been saying this for years now.
Yep.
Fade the public.
All right, kid, let's get to it. 10 seconds left. BKFC in Denver tonight. And like you said, we also have BK going to Myrtle right by you tomorrow. What do we got?
Yes, sir. And we're back on track. We went 1-0 last week. We hit in KSW. KSW is always where we get back on track with. So anytime I need to get it right, I'll just go to the Polish MMA product. So here, like you said, it's for the Vankum Cruiserweight Championship in Denver. Chris Camozzi, fellow Paisano, he's minus 450, taking on Sawyer DP at plus 400. And you got to take Camozzi here. I got to take him via KO TKO. I think he's going to, he put a beating on, Alonzo, the previous shot, Lorenzo Hunt. He gave him a run for his money, but Lorenzo Hunt's just a tough dude, and the reason why he's down is because he broke his arm, his attempt to beat the heavyweight champ. So that's why he gave up the title. And Chris Camozzi is a perfect title to step in and get it and maybe defend it a couple times before having a rematch against Lorenzo Hunt. So we're sure to see that in the future. And I think to keep that going, Chris Camozzi gets a knockout against Sawyer DP here. So squeeze that minus 450 down with Camozzi via KO TKO.
I love
And
it,
that's
Joe.
10
Good
seconds
luck.
left. Yes, sir.
Good luck. Hey, let's try to stay hot. Obviously we're watching 308, watching BKFC. Any big plans for the B-Day?
Man, just some football, I guess, right? Some fights.
Yep.
College.
College.
I'm very well, being able to watch all that in the morning and then have the evening free. I might just go to the fights. I might just go support our boys. I really might just buy a ticket and just show up.
And we got game 1 tonight of the World Series. Let's
I
go,
hope both
Dodgers.
teams lose.
I hope they fucking smoke the Yankees. But, Joe,
Yeah.
good luck. God bless.